everyone and welcome to another video on the channel. Today we are back in the Reading Data Journal and I'm hopeful that this audio will work. I've been meaning to get this up for the last few days. It was scheduled to go up on Friday and unfortunately I had an audio issue, so I've been trying really hard to work on improving things in my videos, and one of them was audio, because it was starting to get to be a bit of a problem. So I did purchase a rig arm for my microphone and a pop filter and all these things that I looked into so it would help with the audio, because it is one thing that I've had comments on before. And I narrated the entire video, ready to go up on Friday, and there was a massive audio issue. So I haven't had enough time to narrate it again until now. So I do apologise that it's late, and I'm praying that the current system is working. I looked into things and how to improve the audio, and I know the height where I have it right now, the microphone, is the right height, but I'm just hoping that the pop filter that I've put on is going to do the trick and make the audio sound great. Anyway, that's a very long and an interesting intro to the Reading Data Journal. We are back in for another session here, and I think there's one more session that I need to post. I am currently putting in headers for the reading goals and about to do also another header for the social media section. So you just saw me setting up previously a traced in jar. We'll get to that in a moment, but we're back on this page here, the reading goals page, and I'm going to give everyone a bit of a forewarning of this video. Much like the messy intro to this video, there's also a lot that goes wrong, and I decided that I would keep this footage as is rather than try and do something aesthetic with it, I guess. I don't know. I'm very much so an honest person. I'm an oversharer as well, and I believe that having the experience shown on screen as opposed to having everything look right is more important. So especially for people who are new to journaling and they may see something on Instagram and it's so well curated and everything looks great, and think that they can't do it because everyone else is doing such a great job. This is for you, to show you that even someone who's been doing bullet journaling since 2017 can still have a really bad day and should have left the journal alone. So I definitely came at this journal, you could see in the beginning I was checking my phone. I was actually waiting for some crafting supplies to arrive in the post. I do resin as well, and it had been a long time since I've played around with resin, so I was waiting for it. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I set this portion up and then come back to the book later on, and I had been playing with the resin and essentially gave myself creative burnout. I make a lot of mistakes in this video, and I'm happy that I can share almost all of the fixes that I make on camera. It's not nice to make mistakes when you're setting up something that you want to use for an entire year, and I was extremely frustrated with myself on this day. Equally though, I think it's a good learning experience for myself and for others to see, you know, you can get yourself out of a situation. There's always going to be a way to fix things without having to turn the page, glue it all together and start afresh. It may not look as you envisioned it, but it can still come together quite nicely. So for 2025, I am finally doing a reading goals page. I've never done one before. I've never focused heavily on what I would like to do over a year for goals wise. I read a lot. I figure I should just continue to read a lot and that would be it. But for 2025, I wanted to have 10 distinct goals to complete over the year. The first goal being I want to read 150 books, and then I want to also read 50 of those books off my physical TBR. I want to clear 80 ebooks off my Kindle because I continuously participate in those stuff your Kindle days and then have an abundance of books that are unread just sitting there waiting to get some attention. And then I also want to read 24 physical books. Now that sounds a bit silly when I put 50 books off my physical TBR, but I am one of those people who will see the audiobook of a book that I might own physically and go, I'll just read that, it's faster. And that would still complete getting that off the TBR. So 24 physical books, I want to actually hold a book 24 times because over 2024 I've only read 7 books in total in a physical way that I haven't also read the audiobook with. So it's a really low number considering I've read 149 books. I will be finishing my 150th today as I narrate this. It is the 24th of November, so on the 24th of November I will have hit my reading challenge goal for the year. The next section I've got there on the right is read a book in each continent. So I want to try and read a book either written or set in each of those continents. Antarctica is going to be interesting. If you've got any recommendations, please send them my way. I also want to read a book that's over 650 pages long. I want to finish 20 series that I started before 2025. And what else have we got? We've got 3 more here. I think I've got 20 diverse reads, and this is where I make my first mistake. I realized that I have this space down the below where this one would work better. So my favorite hack is to use sticker paper to go over anything that I've made a mistake on very quick. Whilst you will be able to see it up close, it kind of blends in with the page quite well. So this now says keep my net galleys percentage above 93% each. I want to have it each month, but we'll see how we go. Read 3 books of genres I don't normally read, and then I'm going to have the 3 marked down there, and this page is done. In the corner there I've got my social media tracker. I normally have that in my main journal, but obviously I thought it would be smart to have it in a goals section. So here we are flipping over to the next page, and this is where we continue to make more mistakes. I'm going to show you how I've been making these headers first though, with the StazOn ink that I'm using. It's called Claret or Claret. I should really look up how to pronounce it, but I just keep saying it either way. And then this page is going to be called the Stats Omnibus. I've never again done a page like this. I really want to have a place where I could track almost everything in one table, and that is essentially what this page is. I think there's only like 2 things that I can't track on this because I just ran out of room. But again, I don't think that they are something that I need to track. Things like rereads. I could just check the reread page. Kind of, it's not a huge monthly thing that I need to track, so I can set up for other stats pages and what have you. Because I do plan to do my quarterly flip throughs and quarterly stat pages in 2025 correctly, because this year I only participated in one portion of that, which was the flip throughs. I started with the stats pages and ran out of time, so I'm hopeful that in 2025 that can be something that I can do, both of which I've really wanted to do. Now you can see that I am fussing around with this header. This actually causes a lot of problems to the top of this page. I do stick this down and then I rip it back up, and then I decide that I'm going to try a different piece of paper and I don't like that either. Then I finally settle on something and I end up putting it on crooked. So you can see that I was quite flustered. Well, at least it feels like that way to me when I'm watching this back. I can see that I was not having a good creative time in this journal. So I think a big thing that I would love to say to people is just walk away. You don't have to rush to get things done. I felt on this day that I had to get everything sorted so I could start thinking about my next journal. And spoiler alert, I haven't even started putting anything into that journal. It's still in its box, and we will get to it, but I've just, yeah, it's been a time, and I think that it's important to just note when you're really not in a creative mood. So here we are, we've finally found a piece of paper that will work, but I put this piece on crooked, it's sticking up on the left hand side completely off the page, and I completely butcher the page when I rip it up. But I managed to fix it, so it's okay, it's going to look fine. But I did initially put the, as you can see, the pencil markings for right below the header, and then I realized I had extra space down the bottom where I can just simply, it's such a mess that I made, where I can simply just move it down. So I do end up drawing a line where I thought that the table was going to begin, and then I just skip it and move on. You'll get to see that in a moment, how I fixed everything on this page. And looking back at it now, once it's all completed, I'm actually really happy with how it looks, and I think it's going to be great to track everything on in 2025. I cannot believe we are almost a month away from that, and I still feel quite a lot of stress trying to get everything organized for 2025. But in this same aspect, I feel like no rush. It's a weird feeling to have, to want to be doing it, and then also perhaps the motivation's not there to do it right now, so it doesn't feel like a necessity to rush out the door and get it done. I also make a couple of mistakes here. You can see that I've come in and cut that because there's a lot of lines to make. My pen ran off the page. By this point, I really should have just left it alone, but I'm grateful that I managed to figure out how to resolve the issues on the spot. But back to the whole feeling stressed but equally not feeling. I think that just comes down to priorities. Obviously, I've not been quiet about the fact that my mum has been very ill over this year. We've almost lost her a multiple amount of times, and she did end up back in hospital. She did end up having another heart attack. Yeah, it's not been an easy time, but I think that really changes your perspective on priorities as well. Like, obviously, caring for my mum and looking after our family takes precedence over anything that I do. And I think that it's important right now for me to just read books and enjoy reading for my downtime rather than trying to journal every single day and try and get everything ready for 2025. I know that when I've got things sorted in the house, I will feel sorted enough to do some journaling. So I'm actually going to be working on December once I finish narrating this. It's been sitting on my desk just waiting for me to pick everything up. So thankfully I've done the most of the setup, and now I've just got to go through and figure out everything else that way. I will say that I've made a mistake again with the stamping here. I went and put an N down the bottom there on the second to last row, and it should have been on the third because there's actually 13 rows there, not 12. So that's another mistake that we have to fix very shortly. But like I said, perspective is very interesting, and I've really enjoyed reading recently. I haven't read a lot, but I've enjoyed what I've been reading, and like I mentioned before, I'm finishing up my 150th book of 2024, sorry, and it's been a good one. I think I'm going to give it 5 stars, so that's a good way to wrap up um, the 150 books that I've read. The last 2 will be 5 stars, so very happy about that. What else have we got to get into for the rest of this year? Like I mentioned, I have to set up the journal for 2025, my main journal. I have gone and found a really cool font. I'm super excited to try and work it out. I have a vision because the book is very whimsical and magical looking. It was originally going to be that I was going to do a romance heavy year, so this year was all fantasy heavy and next year was going to be romance, but I have decided that because the journal looks so fantasy based, that I would do another year of fantasy. I won't tell you the entire theme yet, but I am in two minds of whether or not I should try and draw aspects in, or if I should just continue with the collaging, which I think will probably be the easiest, and considering I am stretched for time, that probably will be what I will end up doing. But I would love to get into drawing more. I'm not very good at drawing, but I would very much so like to get back to my old roots of making my themes with things that I would trace into my journal and colour in. But we'll see how we go. The table is now complete. I will do a huge flip through of this reading data journal and share with you all what everything is looking like and how it's ready to go for 2025 in another video, because I know some people don't enjoy these plan with me's, but they do enjoy a good flip through, so I want to cater to everyone. But getting the books organized for that, I think there's one more video I have to share with you all, doing the color coding. It'll be a very short one, and now we are back to the jar that I originally started off with tracing into the journal. This is going to be my library savings page, and I'm going to use this jar hopefully to track visually how much money I've saved over 2025. I read a lot of books via ARCs, so that page is coming, but on this left hand side I wanted a place to track not in depth money saving, but just an overall guide. So I have a digital tracker that I can track each book that I read at the library and then track out how much money that would have cost me to purchase. And in this physical form, I will be just the month, putting down the month, sorry, and tracking how much overall that month I saved by reading from the library. And I'm not sure whether or not to track if I borrow my best friend's Kindle Unlimited account or not on here, because that's essentially a borrow, but we'll see. I don't do that very often, but overall this will be for where I pick up audiobooks, and I'm not sure if I should track the audiobook price or the actual book price. I think I'll probably do the book price, because that would be the way that I would buy it otherwise. But again, I make another mistake on this page, and this is the last page that I ended up working on that night. You'll get to see there's a bit of a color change in the lighting, and I again for some reason can't count, and that perhaps is just down to the fact that I mentioned in my November setup video that when I was a kid, instead of doing a year of learning maths, which is a very huge fundamental skill for many children to have, my teacher decided to teach us ancient Egypt, and that's probably why I became a historian. But it did mean that I have sucked with maths my entire life ever since. I'm not very good with numbers that way. And so I counted wrong. As you saw, I did count, but I counted wrong, and that little total box down the bottom has to go. So it's a very easy fix, and I'm actually really happy with how this page looks, aside from the fact that I know that there's a mistake there, and now you guys all do from watching it. But this one turns out really, really nice, and I'm grateful. Here we go. I've realized I've messed up again. But I'm grateful that I got the opportunity to put this together and fix it, which I ended up doing off camera because my camera died, so I just covered it up with washi tape. I really like the header situation with a little bit of that decorative paper that I've been using throughout this entire setup. I think it looks really quite handy there. This is the cutoff that I tried to use for the omnibus page, so I'm happy that I'm getting to utilize it on a different page. And this side is the last page we're setting up in this video, and it is the e-arc station. So like I mentioned, I read a lot of arcs, and this is where I'm tracking that portion as well. So in the left hand table, that is the percentage bar for NetGalley, which is one of my reading goals. So each month we'll have a space for me to mark down the percentage of where I am on my profile in NetGalley. You, depending on how many books you have read or haven't read, you are at a percentage out of 100, and you want to stay above 80, but I like to stay above 90 where I can. And then on this right hand side, I've got a table that's got for each month how many books I receive, how many books I've read, whether they're from NetGalley, Book Sirens, or the author, publisher, or someone else. So very happy to have this because I've never done this before. Again, it's new tracking for me, and I'm looking forward to using it and having all this information to see what my trends are like over each month. So that is all for this video. I have a final flip through of what we've set up today on camera for you coming. And I'm hopeful that the little tips along the way of showing you how I fix things when I was clearly not creative enough to be within my journal are helpful, and show that, you know, even having a bad day can still be fixed in a journal. And I am very grateful that you've spent time with me yet again, especially for such a chatty and longer video in this series. I am, like I mentioned, going to have one more video with just setting up in this journal, and then also a flip through, so do look out for them. And there will also be some 2025 content for the main journal, and of course we've got one last destination to travel to for December, and I've left a good one to the last moment, so I can't wait to film that for you all and share it. That will probably come next. I'm not sure, but between that one or the color coding that we need to do in this journal. But until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading or journaling. I hope you and your loved ones are kept safe and happy, and I will speak to you in a new video coming very, very soon. And fingers crossed that this audio has worked and I can put this video out for you and not have to film it yet again. Thank you again for watching. Bye everyone.